Does that mean start?
Sure.
Reconvene. I understand there's been some.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, LLC is requesting 2 special exception permits for light auto and truck repair in houses with possible conditions in this use district, and that's located on Lee Highway, Cloverdale, approximately 0.2 miles south of the Simmons Drive intersection, and identified on the tax maps as 101. Planning Department did receive a written request from Mr. Robert Young, or associated with RYT LLC, requesting a continuance or tabling of this matter for 60 days. And he respectfully asked that the board allow some additional time back for 60 days.
Okay. We have not, as we need to. So I hear.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to ask that I recuse myself from this vote. I have a conflict of interest. This does involve my property, my family's property, and so I will recuse myself with your approval.
Yes.
Are we ready to proceed? All right, well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This next item is out of the Buchanan District. Floyd L. Stinnett, Life Estate, and William H. Stinnett, with Total Energies Renewables USA LLC as the leasee, request a special exception permit for a utility scale solar energy facility with possible conditions located on Pattonsburg Lane, adjacent to 339 Pattonsburg Lane, identified on the tax maps in section 66-5. Well, yeah, sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Okay, perfect. So to begin this presentation, I just wanted to provide a little background on this request. This request represents the first SEP for a solar energy facility in Botetourt County. The Planning and Zoning Office has partnered with the Berkeley Group to conduct a review of the application submitted by Total Energies, who are the leasee of the property and the operator of the facility. Our review and the Berkeley Group's review found that the application is submitted, meets the intent of the zoning ordinance as it was passed in May. So this first slide here just provides you an aerial view of the surrounding zoning adjacent to the property. To the west is the town of Buchanan. To the east and south are mining and quarrying operations. And to the north is an auto repair operation. The primary use for this property has been agriculture in the past. There's not currently any residential use on the property. The property owners are seeking to add solar to the site in order to supplement the agricultural operations that have slowed over time. So the overall intent of this development is to provide power specifically to the citizens of Botetourt County, northern Botetourt in particular. and the nearby surrounding area through a partnership with Dominion Energy's community solar program. Just a little information about the site. The project area will be 16.74 acres. The proposed development is for a 4.5 megawatt alternating current solar energy facility operated by Total Energies. The development will consist of approximately 11,160 individual panels. The ordinance does require that any panels and accessory equipment be no taller than 20 feet. The application as submitted shows a maximum height of 15 feet for all structures. All accessory equipment will be primarily kept on 2 concrete pads containing transformers, inverters, and switch gears. The application shows that all panels will be coated in anti-glare technology as required by the zoning ordinance. As far as noise, the application states that no more than 42 decibels are anticipated at the parcel boundary. Just for reference, this is about the same noise level as is generated by a household refrigerator. So not much noise at all. The ordinance does require fencing along the perimeter of the project area. And the application shows an 8-foot tall fence around the perimeter that is topped by three strands of barbed wire. Ingress and egress to the site will be limited to 1 access road that is gravel in nature. So this slide here just gives you a little more information on those site features that I was mentioning. The concept site plan was submitted by a licensed engineer, Nikki Addison of TRC Companies Incorporated on July 20th, 2023. The area in red where my cursor is here in this area, this shows the ingress and egress where traffic will be limited for the project. The green area along the perimeter shows the required 150-foot vegetative buffer is required by the ordinance. I'd like to take this time now to point out that the application indicates that all vegetation on the property will remain undisturbed to the maximum extent possible. However, at the Planning Commission, Alex Fox, who was in the audience, who is a representative of Total Energies and TRC, presented a request for a waiver from the required buffer that's shown in here, this green area right here. Basically, the reasoning for that was they are keeping the existing vegetation on the property, and the layout of the property is enough to shield any kind of real visual impact for surrounding adjacent properties. But he'll get into that a little bit further later on in the presentation. The Planning Commission approved the waiver request on a 4-0 vote, with Commissioner Kidd abstaining from the vote. The waiver has also been added as a condition recommended by the Planning Commission. Again, Alex and TRC will expand on that a little later. So as far as decommissioning, the decommissioning plan is required to be completed by a licensed engineer. In this case, it was completed by Nikki Addison from TRC, who was the same person that completed the concept plan for this project. Just a few details for the decommissioning. The anticipated life of the project is 25 to 35 years. The estimated decommissioning cost in current dollars is $448,245. The decommissioning cost estimate is based on 2023 RS means, standard crew labor rates, equipment rates, and credits for salvaging project materials in 2023. The lease agreement with the property owner ensures the removal of the power of the generating equipment at the end of the project life will occur. If any entity purchases the project or the entire parcel, an agreement will be signed with the county that ensures proper decommissioning that was agreed to if the SEP was approved tonight. The majority of the equipment will be composed of recyclable materials, including steel, aluminum, copper, and glass. Recycling will be utilized to the maximum extent possible just to reduce waste. The overall decommissioning process is estimated to take approximately 2 months. So we have received several comments regarding this request. Most of the comments have been in favor of the request just due to the economic benefits and certain citizens' desires to see a new form of renewable energy come to Botetourt County. We have also received a few comments where we see concerns of the project, primarily due to the levels of traffic that will be generated during the project during the construction phase. So I just want to take a little time to provide some more information on that. Per the application, the construction phase of the project will last 6 to 9 months. Vehicular traffic will be limited to the daily project site on that ingress and egress path that I pointed out earlier. Visitors will be limited to workers, staff, and the delivery of materials. Trucks assessing the project will be associated with just panels and associated equipment only. It's estimated that during the construction phase, which will last 6 to 9 months, up to 10 trucks will be at the site per day during the busiest portion of the construction phase. Once construction of the project is complete, anticipated traffic to the site is estimated to only be 1 trip per month for the purpose of routine maintenance. Operation of the facility will occur remotely after all construction is commenced. I'd also like to note that VDOT has reviewed the request and did not have any additional comments or concerns for the project itself. All comments provided to us were standard for most other SEP requests that we get. Just in response to the comments that we received, staff have included a suggested condition requiring a detailed construction management plan, part of which will detail traffic control measures that will be put in place during the construction phase. The construction management plan will be submitted as part of the technical review process, which would occur after the SEP approval. We've also included a suggested condition that the application will work with our fire and EMS department to provide training should emergency response be required at the site at any time. That's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Alex Fox now from Total Energies. He's going to present a little more on the technical nature of the project, as well as the visual impact analysis for the waiver request. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Members of the board. Okay, great. It's up here. My name is Alex Fox. I represent Total Energies. We're the project proponent who will be the developer as well as the ultimate constructor and owner and operator of the project. I thought I'd just, for the board's benefit and the benefit of people in the audience, just give a little background on ourselves, the program that we're participating in, type of project, and then talk about some more specifics about the site. Overall, Total Energies is a broad-based energy company that markets fuels, natural gas, and electricity. We're a fairly large company. We've been in business 99 years. We're international. We have over 100,000 employees in 130 different countries. While traditionally our primary business has been oil and gas, renewables is the largest and largest growing part of our business, and we do plan on being carbon neutral by 2050. The project that we're proposing here is to participate in Virginia's limited community solar pilot program. Community solar basically refers to the way the electricity generated from this facility will be sold to off-takers or residents in the community. Essentially, the way it works, as you can sort of see on the graphic here, is we're going to put up a remote solar array what I sort of call small utility scale. So we're still tying into distribution level power. The electricity generated goes out into the electrical grid, and literally people in the area will get to use it and have the benefit of that. But then low to moderate income people that are Dominion customers are able to effectively subscribe or own shares in this community solar farm. And every kilowatt hour we're feeding into the grid is essentially minting credits, which we can assign to the subscribers or participants' bills. And it enables them to effectively save money on their electric bills by participating in this program. Total takes its commitment to the communities in which we work very seriously. Part of the company's philosophy is to leave the communities we work in a better position than when we found them. This we do through our 4 pillars of corporate social responsibility. The first one being climate and sustainable energy. Obviously, we're producing clean power and hopefully displacing carbon emissions that are leading to worldwide and international climate issues. People's well-being. In this instance, we are going to sell all of the electricity generated from the facility to people that meet the definition of low to moderate income for the area. And we are going to offer the electricity from this array to residents of the county first. And if we, get enough subscribers located right here in Botetourt, then we will not, sell electricity out of it. As part of the program, we have the ability to sell it to any Dominion customer in Virginia. If we don't get enough subscribers here, then we would open it up. I realize this county is split a little bit between Dominion customers and APCO customers. So that remains to be seen. Care for the environment. In this particular instance, we do plan, so this is currently, an agricultural use on the property. We do plan on reseeding the project area after we're done with construction to create a pollinator habitat for bees. And then long-term, we do plan on using sheep for vegetation management to keep the land essentially in agricultural production throughout the term of the project. In regard to that, the number of sheep is not limited or diminished by the fact solar is there. So it would be the same number you would have, without solar. The 4th pillar being creating value for society. Hopefully this can help support, local labor. Obviously, we will ultimately be subcontracting and using, local contractors from this area to actually carry out the construction, which we will pay prevailing wage for, and also providing tax revenue to the county and to the town. Another program that we offer to the communities in which we work, which we are offering to Botetourt, and I understand there was at least one school in the county that had reached out previously to Project Lead the Way. Project Lead the Way is an educational program that provides curriculum that sort of connects the dots between math and science concepts and real world applications. Particularly the lesson plans that we would be, buying and providing to the town are focused on solar and energy efficiency. And as part of the grant that we will be giving, you can have guest instructors or mentors coming in, and we will donate solar panels for demonstration purposes at the various schools in the county. So this graphic here, as I think Nick had already alluded to, this is the project site. This is really the current proposed layout. The details, some of the details of which I understand will be permitted later in the site plan review process. We did have, in the run up to the Planning Commission meeting, a community meeting, and as well as I reviewed all the letters that came in support and some expressing concerns about the project. And many people did show up at the meeting. The main concern of people seemed to be the access of the site, primarily because Pattonsburg Lane, which is the main access into the property, is a small road as it is right now. And then there's a bridge we need to cross into the site. So in order to address, so we've given quite a bit of thought about how to address some of the issues or some of the concerns of local people that were brought up. We're not going to try to bring large trucks into the site. So we will be leasing an area off site where we will have larger trucks come, then offload the materials on the smaller trucks, which will be able to traverse Pattonsburg Lane and then cross the bridge over Purgatory Creek. We have been in contact with Virginia Department of Transportation and confirmed the weight loading on the bridge and some of those other things. Still, obviously, we recognize that this is going to cause increased traffic on Pattonsburg Lane, and that was a concern that was raised at the last meeting. We've subsequently gotten some precision about this and how we'll be handling it. The actual construction period, as I think Nick said, will be about 6 months, and that's when we would have construction material and deliveries to the site multiple times a day. However, the bulk of materials will only really be delivered 1 day a week. So really only 1 day a week where you'll see the 10 to 12 trucks, maybe with, periodically a second day in the week for, trash and boxes and stuff to be hauled off and removed from the site. Other than that, traffic will really be limited to the construction workers coming in the morning in their, own vehicles, either pickup trucks or cars, which will just come in the morning and then leave in the evening. So during the actual day, there shouldn't be any increased traffic on Pattonsburg Lane. The normal hours we would be operating would be Monday to Friday, 7 to 4. In order to manage the traffic throughout the process, we plan to have, and as Nick said, we will submit a more detailed plan during the site plan review process or when we go through that. But we do plan on having flaggers present on the site throughout the construction duration to manage traffic and to make sure that there aren't issues. We plan on having 3 flaggers effectively in order to cover, basically to be able to see and communicate all across Pattonsburg Lane. So you don't run into the issue of people going one way and when a truck is coming the other way, et cetera. I think the other concern that people sometimes have with these projects is the visual impact. As I think Nick mentioned, we did ask for a waiver of the visual of the screening requirements because the way this project is actually situated due to topography, it's very difficult to, if not impossible, to really see. However, I do have Carrie here from TRC who conducted the visual impact analysis, and I guess she'd just make some comments on that for your benefit. Bring it up.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Carrie Blankenship with TRC. Just want to take a few minutes to talk about the visual impact study that we did for this project.
I'm not actually
No, okay.
sure about it. Is there a way to bring up the?
I can just use this one here.
Okay.
So again, here is the site. We came out and looked at about 8 different viewpoints. Most of those were from the west here, from different points within the town of Buchanan, also along Route 11 here. And what we saw was we took pictures, then we added the solar array to those pictures to scale. So if it were constructed, this is what it would actually look like if you were standing there in that spot. And of all of the locations that we looked at, you were unable to see what it would look like once it was constructed, either due to the existing landscaping, foliage, or just the distance to the site. This array where it's located is 3,000 to 4,000 feet from any of these areas where, people are living and working. We also looked from the river, because I know that's important with recreation. As Alex said, the way the topography is of this site, the way it slopes, it's kind of sloping away from the river, so you cannot see it from the river as well.
Yeah, I guess just to summarize, we're really excited about this project and the opportunity to do something here in Botetourt, and we are hoping the project will help out by reducing electric costs for low to moderate income households, increasing tax revenue, the ecological benefits in providing educational opportunities for students here. One further point I did want to make in reference to the road improvement on Pattonsburg Lane at the section of road where currently after you cross the bridge turns into a private way, that we will be upgrading for the purposes of our vehicles coming in and out. But obviously that would be, those would be improvements that would stay there. And there are at least 1 or 2 residences that then would be able to benefit from that improvement that currently I understand have some issues with erosion and gravel getting washed down during storms. So anyway, thank you for your consideration.
Any questions?
Chairman,
I've got a couple.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, does any of this, I assume it doesn't, but does it fall under the jurisdiction of the Park Service? Well, it wouldn't be the Park Service, I guess, but Blue Ridge Parkway and the view shed from the parkway, is that an issue?
Carrie would have to comment. I don't know if Carrie, if you want to comment on that. I believe we did take a picture from that area and tried to determine whether or not it would be viewed from there. And the answer through the visual impact analysis was that no, you couldn't see it from there.
Yeah, I just wondered if they levied any requirements on you, but apparently not.
I think we're outside of the scope of those.
Must be, yeah.
I don't, did you look at the Blue Ridge Parkway?
Yeah, as Alex said, the distance from the parkway to where the site's located, you would not be able to see the solar array. Part of this process was reaching out to different entities, looking for different environmental types of impacts. I don't know that the Park Service was specifically contacted. Usually that would fall outside of a study like that. So unfortunately, I can't comment on the Park Service.
If you would like, I can speak a little bit more about kind of more broadly to your question. The ordinance does require kind of a couple studies as part of the application. There's a cultural resource identification report that requires basically a study of the 1 mile radius surrounding the property line. That did find that there are no significant resources or impacts to cultural resources in the area. Furthermore, we also had a wildlife habitats resource study within a 2 mile radius from the property line, which also found that there would be no negative impact from this project to any wildlife or wildlife resources.
I guess one of the things that's relevant there, and it may not be strictly applicable, but the migration, wildlife migration through this area is a pretty big deal.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, I just wonder if you had any.
Yeah, I mean, that was
requirements.
kind of the intent of the ordinance as we passed it, just to nearby, kind of in the wildlife in the nearby area to like mitigate the impact of. It's more for projects that require a lot of like heavy grading, like previously forested areas or things like that. Whereas this project has been kind of open farmland for a while. So yeah, based on the analysis that we got, no real impact to wildlife.
Thank you.
If I could just add to that, those types of studies are typical for any type of project like this, or really any type of construction project. So through that process, someone is doing like a desktop review of any databases that are readily available for public access. We're reaching historic resources, Department of Conservation and Recreation. So we're reaching out to all of those agencies to give them an opportunity to look at the site and provide any additional comment or information to us.
My question is with decommissioning. I think the number that was quoted was based on 2023 data. Is there an escalator for that with a 20-some year lifespan? Or how does that get modified?
I don't recollect off the top of my head whether or not there was included an escalator in it. I mean, typically the salvage value of these systems a lot of times outstrips the cost of removal altogether.
Is there a bond between you and the landowner, or how does that work?
I believe it's we will post it to whatever the authority with jurisdiction is that was listed in the ordinance. I don't recollect off the top of my head.
Our
in the
bonding
ordinance.
committee in the Department of Community Development that
Right.
handles, the type of bond. It's worked out between the property owner and the bonding.
Yeah.
That stage.
Okay. So, and as I understand, you intend to retain ownership of this project? You wouldn't build it and sell it, or is that?
I mean, correct. Our plan is to own and operate it. We are, a utility, and our business is owning electrical generation. I mean, I think we reserve the right at some point in the future to conceivably sell it if we wanted to, but our business is to own and operate electrical generation facilities.
Thank you.
One of the questions I have is you can buy shares, the citizens can buy shares. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so it's not exactly owning shares. The way it works is, we feed the electricity into the electrical grid and we create these credits, and then people can subscribe to our community solar facility. And if, for example, you used 6,000 kilowatt hours a year at your house, we would assign that number of credits to you. So then when you get your bill from Dominion, you would see the value of those credits subtracted off your bill. So you would not have to pay Dominion for that. We would then bill you separately for the value of those credits. However, it would be a price that was lower than what you had saved, or less than what you would have been paying Dominion. So you're able to enjoy a savings that way. When would it be available? Once we reach commercial operation, it'll be available. We are subcontracting the customer acquisition and billing management to another company, and they have various marketing methods for finding off-takers. Obviously, we're making them aware that they have to, for a period of time, make it available to people here first. I'm not totally familiar with the exact marketing strategies they would employ. I think they would like, if Dominion would let them, they would like to send out flyers in everybody's electric bill in the area, giving them the option to sign up. Barring that, they may use a combination of direct mail and internet, ad optimization, things like that.
So there's income restrictions on who can participate? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. For this particular program, it's to provide electricity for people meeting the definition of low to moderate income in the zip code
Okay.
or zip codes that they're in. I don't know those thresholds off the top of my head.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask one other question?
Yes.
Is your company integrated in the sense that you use your own construction crew or you use local general contractors?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to oversee the construction and have, a general contracting representative on site, but no, ultimately, the way these are typically built, we will, be the general contractor, and the actual construction will be, subcontracted to local tradespeople to do it. And certainly some of the materials we need to buy, we're not going to, get from outside the area, various electrical equipment and wire and stuff will be sourced locally.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Going through this process. Very, very detailed.
Thanks. We're really excited about it.
Does anybody have any? Public hearing, we have. And if we had a microphone. Come over.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Mallory. I'm a local, lifelong Botetourt resident, and I'm also a local agricultural teacher here. And I'm here to speak in support of this proposed project for a couple of different reasons. I think it would be really great to become more self-sufficient and start to get our energy from a more local area instead of relying on areas like other countries to get our fuel. So that's one reason I'm in support of this project. Another reason is I think it would keep the land out of potential commercial and residential development. And I also think it would be really important to keep this land in agricultural use. So it's really popular in the agricultural field right now to start solar grazing with sheep. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but you can't use goats because they'll climb the solar panels, and you can't use beef cattle because they're just a little bit too big. But there are a lot of places and a lot of companies, I'm not going to name names, but they're starting to require their solar sites to do solar grazing. It cuts down on fuel costs and equipment costs, so you don't have to mow as much. And you can actually improve the land if you do proper rotational grazing with those sheep. And it's one way that people who maybe don't own land themselves or can't buy land, but they want to farm, maybe they can graze their sheep on these different solar sites. So it's one way to keep the land in agriculture production and kind of double the use of that land in addition to solar. I also don't think it would be much of an eyesore to the local residents. I don't think most people would even notice that it was there. And I'm most excited about the fact that I could potentially take students out there from local schools so that they could see that this is something they might be able to do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Height of the fence dictated by the national. I believe it's stipulated. Okay, that's where we come up with the height restriction.
Yeah.
Really, actually,
I should say.
No, please. It's fine. Good evening, y'all. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lindsay Finster. My papa is Lindsay Stinnett, as you guys saw in this proposal, and my great uncle is Will Stinnett, who is also in that proposal. For those of you that do know me, you may know that I grew up here in Botetourt County and went away for a whole lot of school and came back and is now practicing mixed animal veterinary medicine up in Lexington at Blue Ridge Animal Clinic. And a big reason why I came back was certainly to practice mixed animal veterinary medicine in this region. I'm passionate about serving the people in these communities, but probably a bigger reason that I came back was to help run and keep my family farm going. My brother and I are the 6th generation actually to live and work and run on this farm. And so keeping it alive and well is probably the most important thing to us. I think when my brother and I think about our vision for the future of this farm, what comes to mind is sustainability. And not in the sense of green energy, although that's a really cool benefit from this project, but more in the sense of we want to keep this farm productive and thriving and contributing to agriculture here in this region for our lifetimes. And if we're lucky, our kids' lifetimes and their kids' lifetimes. To be frank with y'all, the economic climate right now for people in agriculture, especially on the scale that it is in this region, is really challenging. We're a pretty low expense operation and we break even every year. And so the returns from this project are going to be far greater than returns from running cows on that land. It's way too steep, most of it to make hay on. And so the returns from that are going to allow us to do things like put in safer and better infrastructure and working facilities for our cattle, and put in a better road getting in there, cross fencing, waterers. I definitely want to buy more cows. And so the returns from this project are going to be what's going to allow us to do that. And I don't have time for all the financial details and this 3-minute time span, and I could go on, but if you take anything away from my 3-minute spiel, it's that I love my family. I love my family farm, and there's nothing more important to me than keeping it relevant and viable in the next few years. And I think the solar project currently presents the best way for me to do that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Very good. Anybody else here speak? Not a closed public hearing? Does the board have any questions or comments?
I have 2 questions about the operations.
You have 2 questions?
Yeah.
You want to- Mr. Fox,
The
come back
gentleman
in.
from Total Energy.
Yep.
And this is just curiosity more than anything. The remote monitoring. This is you're saying here that the facility, the operation is monitored remotely. I assume you have wherever that central location is from which you monitor. How many facilities like this do you monitor at one time? I suppose there's dozens. Is that right?
Oh, well, Total owns several hundred gigawatts of solar generation around the world. Community solar is itself is a relatively new business for Total and a small part of much larger company. But yes, we do have ongoing data monitoring, and there is a control room. To be honest, I don't know the exact location. It may actually be in France, where they basically there is data monitoring and all the inverters that will be installed at the site, and we will get information about production and so on and so forth. And if there is a disruption to production or we're not seeing it producing what it should be, then we would roll a truck to come out and have somebody take a look at the site and, figure out what was going on. From the standpoint of just simply measuring how many kilowatt hours are produced so we can do the allocation for, crediting to customers, that's relatively simple. And they have, pretty detailed metering on site that keeps, revenue grade, track of how many credits we're generating, and then working with Dominion on the back end to make sure that migrates into customers' electric bills.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Chairman, I'd just like to say, this to me represents the kind of project we ought to take pretty seriously. It appears that the siting of this is ideal. The fact that it's going to continue to be agriculture oriented. Hopefully there'll be small remnants and sheep underneath it. Sounds like that's the plan. It helps sustain agriculture going forward for these fine people, and I would encourage us to move this forward.
And, are we looking at other farmland that may benefit from this as well?
Well, the thing about this is that I like is that the fact that it's cited such that it doesn't have view impact on,
Right.
Others that, it's hard to find that. So in that regard, it's a win-win in my opinion.
Absolutely. From the county, from farmers and everybody in the town. So what a wonderful thing that they put together. So education wise as well. Any other comments? If not, we have in front of us here a request of special exception permit for a utility scale solar energy facility with possible conditions. Now, these conditions are from 1 to 6, as you saw previously, and in your packet, you'll see it as well. So do I have a motion for approval? If not, then I will move to approve this. This is Buchanan. We're missing vice chair.
Well, I'll make a
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion?
Fully agree with what Dr. Bailey said. Great project.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Dr. Scott-Thorne, I just would like to send a reminder. We also have the commission permit to consider in addition to the SEP. So this will need to be approved first before the
And
SEP.
that's what I was going to go
Perfect,
to. Yeah.
perfect.
And then the planning commission also recommended it, also the approval of the commission permit, motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. I think this is going to be fantastic and can't wait to see this in action. Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work.
Done.
That being said, motion,
Mr. Chairman, adjourn,
Second.
sir.
all in favor? Thank you. We are adjourned.
This is where they use the little lambs to